Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about separation in the golf swing and why it is really important for good ball striking in several different ways. So we're looking at separation in regards to upper body and lower body, especially in transition when starting the downswing. So something you can do at home is, first of all, let's check and see if you can separate. So this is a test that I'll regularly do in the TPI screen. And we're going to look at it from two parts, so upper body and lower body. So to begin, we are going to try and keep the lower body stable. The orange stick is not going to move, and then I am separating the upper body, so the torso rotates while the lower body and hips stay steady. Then we're going to flip-flop that, and the upper body is going to stay stable while I separate the lower body. So that would be step one. So we want to make sure that the player can actually do that movement. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible to do that in the golf swing if you can't physically do it. So that is step one. If you cannot do it, a good progression would be to use the golf club to add some stability. So you're going to stand, hold the club, and then keep your hands, shoulders, everything square, and you're going to start working by separating the lower body from the upper body. And adding that stability is going to make it easier to separate, whereas when we are here, there's nothing to stabilize the core with. So then sometimes there's a breakdown in the movement. So we want to start with that progression to begin. So looking at the golf swing, why is separation so important? The first thing would be power production. So if we look at the best players in the world, when they get to the top of the backswing, what happens is the lower body starts to separate while the upper body stays behind. So if I put the club across the chest and shoulders so you can see, both the pelvis and the hips and the upper body have rotated in the backswing. Now when the downswing starts, we want to separate. So you can see the hips are getting back to square, but my chest is still pointing behind the ball. One thing that a lot of amateurs do wrong is when they get to the top, everything comes as one piece. And what's going to happen there, it's going to mean that the hands are going to move out over the top towards the ball, and then you'll need to make compensations through impact to try and hit it properly. And then the other thing that it's doing is if everything moves in one solid piece, there's no stretch of the body, which limits power production. So one of the reasons we can hit it a lot longer with that separation is the muscles are stretching, and it's also creating a little bit of separation and stretch there with the upper body and lower body. So it's like pulling an elastic band. You're gathering energy so that when you come through the ball, it is then released through the ball, and the upper body eventually catches up with the lower body. So we're not trying to separate the whole way through the swing. It's just in transition and starting the downswing, and then the upper body is eventually going to catch up with the lower body. So some progressions you can do when doing that would be to go up to the top and stop, and then try and leave your hands up there for a little bit and focus on getting the hips back to square. And then you'll feel the hands start to be pulled down gradually. And something I'll do in lessons with students would be have them swing up to the top and stop, and then I'll put my hand on the butt of the club and I'll have them start the downswing. Now, if they struggle with this, I'll immediately feel their hands pushing to start the downswing, and then eventually they're going to learn that they need to separate lower body, and then that's going to pull the hands down in the downswing, not the opposite way around. So that would be a good little thought or progression when you are starting your downswing to create separation, would be let the hips go first, leave the chest behind and the shoulders behind, and they'll get pulled through eventually. Vice versa, something that I see with a lot of junior golfers especially, is they separate too much. So they're super flexible, their hips get way out in front, and then their hands are far behind. So something we can do again with the stick would be do some drills where there's separation, but then we get the hands and arms back in front of the stick, and then that's going to help not get too stuck behind So usually little junior golfers that are really fast hips, that would be a good drill just to kind of get the arms and hands to catch up. On the other end of the spectrum, most amateurs are the exact opposite. So we want to be somewhere in the middle where the sequence is good, it's lower body followed by upper body, but then everything matches up and syncs up later in the swing. Thank you for watching. If you've got any questions, as always, drop them in the comments, and I will see you next time.